Hey guys, this is Nick with Sweet Tree. Today we're going to make a video kind of showing you guys how to work, how to set up and get everything tuned in with the Sennheiser EW G4 twin monitoring series. We've got 4 transmitters here kind of racked together. So first I want to show you the rack mounting and kind of how you do that. So when you get your sets, they come in individual boxes and each box has its own mounting gear in it. You shouldn't need each piece out of each box, but these are the pieces you're going to need. You're going to see a flat piece that comes underneath the actual transmitter in the box. You're going to see 2 pieces that look like this that'll be on the side of each transmitter. I believe they're underneath some cardboard there. You have to kind of look for them in a box. And then what you're going to need also in that box with these side pieces is a bag that includes 6 screws here, 1 for each hole on the bottom plate. You're going to need those to tighten them together to get your 2 transmitters together tight. Once you've done that, you will remove 2 screws on each side of the transmitter and replace them with the same screws, but you want to place this side plate here, the actual rack mount piece, and put the screws back in. Once you've done that on both sides again, you'll be able to rack mount this into your case. Not too hard. Once you again find the screws there, you should be able to get those together no problem. Alright, so now I want to show you guys the menu options here on the transmitter. First, we're going to look at the front here. You've got your headphone jack here as well as the knob to adjust the overall mix volume. On this side over this way, you've got your knob for the menu, actually scrolling through the menu there. Once we do that, we'll get to that in just a second. You have an escape button that brings you back in the menu. The sync button here will activate the sync here in the transmitter, and you'll want to hold up your belt pack to that, and that'll sync any settings that you have here to the belt pack. And you've got your power button here on the right side as well. Get back out of that. I do want to spin this around. Actually, I guess I'll spin the camera around here. Sees the mess here. And we want to look at the back side. Most of these newer transmitters will have these options here. You've got obviously your power adapter in, your Ethernet in as well, your main XLR ends as well here, your antenna connection on the far side, and then you have your loop left and right as if you wanted to jump out of this transmitter into another transmitter, whether it be one that you have rack mounted over here or even to an actual speaker or a monitor. And that's the back. It's not too complicated back there. So we'll scroll back around here. I'll try to refocus my camera here so the menu is not as blurry. So first with the menu, you can see here it sets itself where you can see the frequency, the group and the channel you're in, the name of your transmitter, and then a couple of options that we'll get into here. Right now we know we're in stereo mode because of the 2 different AF meters here. So when you first go into the menu option, it's going to start wherever you were last. Like I said, both of these are different wherever I just ended the last time I was in the menu. Just to go through the options here, you've got auto lock where you can set it to where it'll lock itself after a little while or not. We like to leave that off. You can change the name. Again, this is the name for us. And you've got a bunch of different characters to go through and name as you need to. The frequency preset, again, something else that you can just change. If you are a kind of person that likes to work off the groups and the channels within those groups, you can do that. I know I need to set this one for what we had it set to earlier, which is group 3, channel 8. Once you're done, you want to click on your knob here, and that'll go ahead and set that right. Next is an easy setup option, and with the 2 options here in the easy setup, it allows you to either mute the RF for the connected devices or only this device. And basically once you do that, it's just going to ask you to sync it, and that will mute the belt packs that you have going to this transmitter. You can change your mode. This is where you change it from stereo to mono, and you can see the change that it makes here on the menu on the screen as well. We want to keep ours in stereo for the time being. The sensitivity, you have a wide sensitivity range here that you can pick between. -42, again, I'm going to try to fix this where you can see the menu with the contrast. It's kind of hard, but it's -42 right now. and you can take it all the way up to 0. We're going to kind of split the difference and go at -21. We want to store that. You can exit the menu. You've also got your advanced settings, which are very important. You have the tune option here, where you can individually go through and adjust either by the a large frequency or by a small frequency back and forth. I believe that's where we were. We're going to go back to that in just a minute. And here also you have sync settings, where you can adjust or turn on and off what you would rather sync to, whichever device that you're about to sync to, whichever belt pack. And you can adjust that correctly, and you can choose to have that sync whenever you sync your belt pack. I'm going to set that back where we had it. There we go. Squelch. Basically, the squelch is going to change if it's going to pick up a narrower signal or a broader signal. And that has a different setting here between 25 dB and 5 dB. Set that back there. And then again, you want to change, if you want to change your mode and have that set, you can do that. And then the high boost, you can boost the high frequencies, which we suggest that you do not do, but if that's something that you need to do, you can do so there. Again, the auto lock, you can change that here. And then your limiter, the limiter on the transmitter can limit between -18 decibels and -6 decibels. Go back out to the main advanced menu here. RF power. Basically, you can change that between low, standard, and high, and that's going to be sort of the millowattage that this transmitter's bringing in, which I believe changes between 10, 30, and 50 milliwatts. We're going to leave ours on 30 here just to give us a good in-between here. You can change the full screen warnings that will come up for you if your belt pack does something, if it peaks AF or if it mutes itself in the RF. It'll let you know here on screen. I can't really show that to you right now, but we can you can look at it and test it yourself. The brightness of the menu, the screen can be adjusted as well. And it looks like it's not a crazy difference, but it's definitely enough to keep your screen lasting as long as it needs to be. And then you can reset all of your options. You can change the IP address if you are using the Ethernet port, and then you can also look at the software here and see which which version of the software you're on. So that is it inside the menu. There's definitely a lot of options and a lot of things that you can get messed up on. And if you ever feel like you're kind of lost and stuck in something, feel free to look at this video and take a look and see where you may have gotten mixed up on, as there are, like I said, a lot of different options to get into here. So continuing our video on the Sennheiser EW G4 series, twin monitoring series, I wanted to show you guys the belt pack, the receiver here for this system. So it's kind of interesting compared to the G2 series, of which we've used a lot. You've actually got a couple of different options here that you can scroll through for the standard display on the screen here. And so I wanted to kind of go through a couple of those. Right now, this is the standard Sennheiser size belt pack they've used for a little while here. You can see we've got our Sweet Tree logo on them. We do a lot of rentals, and so it's good to keep our name on a lot of our gear. 2A here. We're working on transmitter 2. It's not in focus, and I apologize for that. But we're working on belt pack 2A here, and we'll get into the A and the B's here in just a second when it comes to being able to use the twin system here the way it's supposed to be done. I'll go ahead and open this up. So as far as buttons on this belt pack, you've got 4 total buttons here. You've got the escape button, which you can see when I hit escape also cycles through the different screen settings that you can show. And then you've got the up and down, which do the same thing, back and forth here. Go down, go back up. And then you have a set button, which I'll adjust the brightness here. Set, right here above my thumb. When you hit the set button, you enter the menu inside the belt pack. And again, with most of the Sennheiser gear, you know that it's got a wide range of options here for the belt pack. So we'll start with the name. I have not synced this belt pack yet to this receiver, to the transmitter, so I'm going to do that here in a moment, and we'll see how that changes. You can again change the name however you need to. If I'm not mistaken, it'll still let you cycle through the way it does on the transmitter, and we'll just leave it as AW IEM, whatever that may mean. We'll get that stored up. The next option here, again, is the frequency preset. You can go through and choose your group and your channel that you want this belt pack to be. There's an easy setup option here. What we've learned about the easy setup is that you really need to have the transmitter hooked up to your computer, and then it does the setting up for you. You've got a couple different options in here, but since we were doing this all manually, it's not super important to know exactly everything it does at this moment. Again, you have the squelch option here, between 5 and 25 decibels that you can adjust it to. Set that back to 5, bring that back here. The advanced settings in here are a little bit similar to the transmitter. Again, you have your limiter options that you can scroll through the different dBs here. Want to save that back at 6. On the belt pack, a menu option shows up that was not on the transmitter. You can adjust whether the pilot tone is on or off. We suggest keeping them on at all times because it really just helps clear through any kind of RF noise you may have, and it really helps the transmitter and belt pack to communicate, especially if it's a far distance away from each other or anything like that. You can do the advanced, under the advanced menu, you can do the exact tuning that we did on the transmitter, and then look at the software version. You can reset the belt pack. There is an engineer mode here, which allows you to set and load profiles for different users of the belt pack, which is definitely something that's kind of cool if you're touring with these. And you know, you have to change up your belt packs every now and then. You can just select a profile here, and it'll show up some of the options for those profiles, which is kind of cool. I'm going to do this. It's asking me to sync this to the receiver. I'm not going to do that just yet because we don't have any profiles set up yet, which is still a very cool idea for guys who have not or are going to be using these a lot. Back up here to the menu, we want to go back in the advanced menu here. You can set the contrast of the screen here. Now this is an option, again, we didn't see on the transmitter, but you can boost the overall volume up to 6 decibels. Now, again, we didn't go over the hardware just yet, but there is a volume knob here that goes from 0 to 10, really is the off, and then to 10. And then you even have the more extreme boost here from 0 to 6. We want to leave ours at 0. We want to make sure we don't blow anybody away when we they plug their headphones in or anything. And we're back at the limiter. So I'm going to go back out into this menu here. If you hit escape and you're inside a lot of the menus, it clears you all the way back out. So just keep that in mind. There is always an exit that you can go to that will just take you right back out to the previous menu. And so we want to go back to, again, the auto lock here. Again, you can lock the belt pack. If it hasn't been, a button hasn't been pushed in a while, you can do the same thing with the transmitter. You again have the high boost, which again we recommend you keep down below, down to where it is not boosted. Just it really helps clear up some of the sound. If you have to do it, it is there, and that is good to know. All right, guys. So I want to show you real quickly how to sync your Sennheiser belt pack to your transmitter here. First thing I want to do, I'm going to show you, okay, so the settings I have on my transmitter here, the frequency is set to 492.750. Currently we're in the U1.1. The name is set to 2A and 2B, which is the way that we'll just have them named. You can have them named however. And then you can see that we have the standard reach, the 30 milliwatt option, as well as the sensitivity set to -27. We want to keep those settings the same, and so I'm going to just check a couple of other things here. Make sure, I'm going to go ahead and have this be in mono. Okay. I'm going to go through, make sure everything else looks about the way I need it to, and everything does look pretty good here. I know you can't see, I'm sorry. Okay, everything does look to be good here, so I'm going to escape out of this. And so what I want to do now is I want to press the sync button here on the right. Our blue light's going to come on. You want to match the belt pack up on those two little things there, and you sync the belt pack. So now we're going to look here at our belt pack, and you can see, well, let's make sure you can see. There you go. So now you can see that we are good to go. Same frequency. The name is the same. Right now, though, it does look like let's see what mode we are in here. Since we're mono on the transmitter, we want to be set to stereo here on the belt pack. Right now we are not. So what we're doing basically, and I'll make a little more of an explanation here in a second, when the transmitter is only transmitting a mono signal, when it's basically sending you just both channels in the back as one mix, your belt pack will need to be in stereo, because your belt pack then, what you can do is you can pan more to the right or more to the left, and you're getting one mix, but you are adjusting it just basically a more to the left, more to the right sort of thing. Basically, that's all you've got to do to sync up your belt pack to your transmitter here. Here in just a second, I'll show you a little bit more about the stereo and mono situation. All right, so wanted to clear the air a little bit about the transmitter and the belt pack, the receiver, as far as shooting signal stereo or mono from the transmitter to the receiver, exactly how you do either way. So right now, our transmitter is set to mono. As you can see, there's 1 meter for AF, and we are in mono mode. And of course, my screen's not going to show you perfectly. There it is, mono. And so since we're in mono here, we're combining. If you send in a left and a right, you're combining the mix into one mix, or if you just send in the left side, it would just be the mono send. You're sending in one single mix from the transmitter to our belt pack. And so in your belt pack, you need to make sure that your settings are correct here to be able to receive, sorry for the camera work, to be able to receive the one sound, your belt pack needs to be in the correct mode. And that mode on the belt pack is named stereo. Now, the reason it's named stereo, again, you want to be in stereo when your transmitter is in mono. The reason that it's called stereo is because now, when you're getting that one mix, you can now fade. If you go into, I believe it's here, balance, you can now fade the entire mix either to one ear or to the other. Basically, whatever the left side of what you're receiving will go to your left ear, and the right side will go to your right ear. The more you do it one way, the more you do it the other way, it should be good. Basically, the reason this is set up this way, I don't want to say old school, but the one conventional way of doing this is if you were sending one signal from the transmitter to your belt pack, you could simply just move one side to the other, make one side go a little bit louder, fade to one side or the other. So now, as we do the stereo, if we want to send 2 separate mixes through one transmitter to 2 belt packs. I've only got the one belt pack out, but I can show you anyways. So let's say this is one mix and this is another mix. I know I've got a 1/4 inch cable in there currently. It could be that, or it could be an XLR. So this is mix 1 and this is mix 2. We want to send 2 mixes to 2 different belt packs. So what we need to do, go to your mode. Let me adjust the brightness here so you can see. And again, we're in mono mode. We want to change that to stereo, and you can see that it flips and makes the 2 AF meters there on the side. So from there, again, your frequency doesn't need to change. Everything else should be able to stay the same. Again, our name, 2A and 2B, just the way that we do that, because most of the time we will be running the transmitter in stereo. So now, once that's set, what you need to do, and I'm sorry for the videography, I'm working this one-handed here. You're going to go to your belt pack. You want to go back to the mode. Go back to the mode. And from here, you want to be in focus. Why is it focus? Why is it not mono? Why is it not stereo? Why does it not match? Basically, the focus, because you're using 2 belt packs on one transmitter, what you're going to do, you need to focus one belt pack on one side and focus the other belt pack on the other side. So let's just say that this is going to be mix 1, so the left side. What I need to do here, now that we're in focus, I'm going to focus this belt pack all the way to the left, which means that this belt pack is only receiving the mix, the left mix, or mix 1. So I'd hit enter, and then from here on out, this belt pack's only gonna receive the mix from the left mix coming into the transmitter. Now obviously the same thing for the other belt pack, you would just send it all the way to the right, and now this belt pack is focusing on the right mix, or mix 2 in this case. If you had any other questions, don't hesitate to give us a call, reach out to us, and appreciate you watching.